fellow Nikon shooters are doing. It's pretty extraordinary. So I am from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, for any North Carolinians here. We have been trying to just run away from hurricanes for the last couple months. And so New York feels like a very safe place to me right now. But I have been shooting travel photography since forever. I was born overseas, Army brat, didn't move here until I was 11, moved a ton growing up, and then have just been traveling the whole time. And for the last 15, 16 years, I've been able to do a lot with photography and travel together, shooting for commercial assignments, editorial, nonprofit work, and also educational purposes. That said, even though I've been fortunate to shoot for paid assignments, I also photograph a lot while traveling with families. So anybody in the crowd here ever travel with one of those families? Like any family will do, yes. And I travel quite a bit with mine. And what I have discovered is that what I would love to do optimally as a travel photographer doesn't always marry up well with what everybody else wants to do while they're on vacation. So the problem I've always struggled with is how to bring what I want to bring onto a shoot to get the shots I want to get and also keep pace with everybody else. So I have learned to travel very, very light when I'm shooting. This image I shot at the top of a mountain that we spent the entire day hiking up to in the Dolomites, the Italian Alps. And by the time we got there, I had exactly one camera and one lens. That is my entire gear kit right there. That's everything we had for 9 hours of hiking. That was basically water and nature bars and maybe a travel shirt, change of clothes. But that's it. And then so when we get to the top, oh my God, I still love this photograph. We got to the top and the whole time I'm thinking I've got to watch the clock because I want to get to that summit by the time sunset hits. But I have 3 children who were not as interested in getting to the summit by the time sunset hit. And so we're bringing them up the whole way, and we get there, and you can probably see all the joy and relief packaged into this shot because this gorgeous light is spilling out everywhere. Like 360 where I'm looking, that light is just skimming over the mountains, and it's gorgeous. But I have one camera, one lens, no modifiers or accessories. So I shoot everything in manual mode, and I'm dialing in an extended field of focus. I'm scrambling to dial in an extended field of focus. And to make sure I get a shot where I've got spot metering, I'm resting the camera because I don't have a tripod. I can't really bring a sturdy tripod up 9 hours of hiking because I have 3 kids I'm trying to get up for 9 hours of hiking. So I'm steadying it on that. I'm using an extended release function that you can find in your cameras. And I'm clicking the shutter and then just holding my breath and stepping back and getting the shot. And I was able to do quite a bit doing it that way. But hiking for 7 full days throughout the Dolomites, every time you turn around, you're encountering an incredible new view, but you're also encountering a lot of attitude from tweens and teens who feel like they're on vacation and why on earth should I have to get up so early when I'm on vacation? And why go all the way to the top of the mountain when you're just gonna come back down? Like, what's the point of that? And somewhere around this part of the hike, was when we realized we had navigated pretty improperly in that, you've ever seen those trail maps where they're like long lines and short dotted lines and longer dotted lines, and it's confusing. So we accidentally went on the super technical, only for professionals kind of route, and it turned out to be a very, very narrow path up a sharp drop down a cliff. And we're coming up the ways, and we realized, by the time we realized that this is actually pretty dangerous, it's more dangerous to go back. You just kind of have to keep going up. And my youngest is saying, like, you didn't think this through. This is very dangerous. And my older daughter is like, you're not really showing love for us. This is not caring for us. And by the time we get all the way to the top, I'm like, just hug the cliff face and breathe. You'll be fine. My son turns to me, my 14-year-old son, who thought going up was really dumb because you're just going to come back down, turns to me and said, fine, but just so you know, I think you are horrible parents. That's about where we got our distinction as horrible parents. And just so you know, 2 minutes later, I saw a 5-year-old just skidding down the path with his very relaxed European parents behind him. And I didn't hear any labels about them. So this is my beautiful, gorgeous, I love them so much family, and I really do love them, even though they don't like early morning rises on vacation. And what I do here is just plop a camera on the ground, and I try to make really, really sure I get a moment where everyone's feeling good. We're in the context of where we are. It's more than just a selfie. I'm trying to actually get a photograph. So this is either self-timer, or I'm clicking through the app, or it is a wireless remote trigger. And even though the lighting's not amazing, we are feeling like we're together and we're on a travel. And for me, that is what's so great about travel photography, is the experience you have when you are out with other people, and it's not just the everyday thing that you're doing. Okay, so a little bit of a switch. This is when I get to go out and photograph at any time of day I want, which is different. Anybody recognize Mount Rainier? Yep, so this is waking up at 3:30 in the morning, leading a travel workshop. And we're going down, it's shivering, it's cold. We're photographing night trails and night stars. And then this gorgeous view emerges, and we're able to get what comes up ahead of us. And I'm thinking, I've just, again, have one camera and one lens with me. I'm shooting with the 24-70 f2.8 lens on this shot. And the contrast of being able to shoot at an optimal time is extraordinary. This shot is in Asheville, the Blue Ridge Mountains, shooting right after twilight, just before the light completely drops off. I want to say this is at something like a 3200 ISO, and getting those just soft, muted, beautiful colors as the light is dropping out of the sky. I love rainstorms. I think a lot of photographers feel the same way. Rainstorms, a lot of people get bummed out when they see it on the weather forecast. I'm very excited. This is in the Jungfrau region in Switzerland, right outside of Interlaken. And there's a tram you can take up, hike the whole day, and then tram back down. But there's only one last tram of the day, and if you either get it or you're just up on the mountain overnight. And while we were up there, the sun was dropping, and it was just really lovely in front. But this massive storm was just raging in. It was coming in so fast, and there's lightning everywhere, and you could see it in the distance, like storming in. And I don't know if you could see that rain just smashing on the mountaintops. It was stunning. But the tram decides they have to leave a little earlier to get everybody down, because this is happening and you're all exposed up there. But this is happening over here. So it's like, I want to live, but look at the shot. So the best I could do is basically get to this vantage point, go ahead and kick my shutter speed up to the fastest shutter speed I could pull off, because I was moving while I was clicking, going to the tram. And I was able to get this shot, and by lowering the amount of light I could get into my shutter, by making that shutter speed so fast, I could control the unintentional camera blur, but also get this moodier shot that I hadn't necessarily planned to get, but I liked quite a bit more. This shot I just took recently in Slovenia, Ljubljana, Slovenia, and it had been a sparkling, beautiful, gorgeous day, and you can see all that light hitting the city where it had been like that. And it was another one of these amazing rainstorm that just like a wall is coming in. And we're up on some castle, like some vantage view up there. And as this rain's coming in and the lightning is striking across, people are rushing down. And like I'm sure a lot of you, people are going down and you're climbing up to get to the better view as it's just coming in on you. Luckily, the gear I used, this was shot with a D850, so it's a really hardy piece of gear, so you can get it pretty wet and still keep going, which is nice. In Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, walking along one of the nicer neighborhoods and turning a corner and seeing not only this storm rolling in, but this just random pack of dogs in the middle of the street, who luckily were very friendly. And look, can you see the rain was starting to hit? Look at these little dog faces, just kind of cringing for it. But again, having the 24/7 wide open as that rain's coming in. And for the most part, that's what I'm using everywhere I'm going, is just that in a little bag. But I mentioned earlier the way you feel when you're shooting and how you want to bring that out in the places you are. Has anybody ever been to La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona? None of you. I can tell you about it. Oh, one of you. You ruined it. It was started to be designed in 1882 by Gaudi, a very famous architect in the Catalonia region. And his goal was to create a cathedral, this is a Roman Catholic cathedral, that mimicked nature, that felt like when you were inside, you were outside. And when I first walked in, what I saw was this. This is not a composite. I don't have any composites in my work. When I first walked in, this light, the way it was coming in, it felt like I was in awe of the way it hit and the way it ran through the entire cathedral. And as you move through, you see these columns going up, and they're shaped like trees going into a canopy. And this architecture, it started in 1882. It was 25% done when he passed away, and there have now been multiple people heading up this construction project since then, and it's still not done being built. It's so ambitious. I believe we're about 140 almost years into it, and they're still projecting something like another couple decades of growth to go. So it's pretty amazing. But the essence of it, this light everywhere coming in through very strategic colored stained glass through everywhere. So if you stand in the middle and do a 360, you see all these different hues of light everywhere. And even though there are people everywhere, the intention works. You feel like this is a sacred space and you are almost alone in it. It feels very personal. And it looks very stunning. And overall, I think that is the biggest part that as a travel photographer, I find I want to come away with in terms of the photographs I take. I want to look at them later and think about how I felt while I was standing there, while that photograph was being taken. Not necessarily getting the shot, but making sure that what's in there is how I felt when I got to that place. So that's what I've been traveling with the whole time forever. Up until about beginning of this year, a little bit into the year, I got a call from Nikon corporate saying they're coming out with a new mirrorless camera, the Z7. It's coming out later in the year. Would I be interested in flying down to Mexico and shooting for 7 days and 7 nights, a whole travel photography campaign for the new camera? And I said, I'll meet you at the airport. I'm going right now. And they say, wait, it'll take like 6 weeks to set this up. And I said, but I'll be there. I'll just be there when you're ready. So we went down, and this was my gear kit. I'm literally carrying this because I carry it everywhere now, like a unbranded simple satchel, and the one camera and the one lens, and it's so lightweight and so easy. And I also happen to love the photographs I'm getting, and that is different because in the past, when I did not want to bring out the DSLR or any of these sturdy lenses that I knew would deliver that high quality image, because I wanted something that's just simple and easy and I can just pull out, take a shot, and keep going. The trade-off is when I would zoom into those shots, they kind of fell apart. Like the integrity of the shot was not there. So to be able to walk around and have this ease and this lightweight feel, but not lose any of the quality was stunning. So here's a little clip of shooting behind the scenes in Mexico. Hear it? What this new system represents for me is freedom. I get to wander around the crowds, to have this very subtle camera that I can whip out from my bag or under my coat and have these incredible high quality images, but this whole mobile option. Hi, I'm Tamara Lackey, and I'm here in Mexico shooting at multiple locations with the brand new Nikon Z 24-70 f4 lens. And then your hand's very loose on the cup. We spent all day, morning to midnight, photographing portraits throughout the Yucatan Peninsula. So we'll even do something where you kind of like greet somebody. You're like, oh, hi. That's cute. I love that. Okay, so you guys are just in conversation. That's good, that's so good. That's so good. You are such a friendly bee. One of my favorite moments from this trip was a completely impromptu shoot with a giant fuzzy bee that just appeared.
You are so pretty. See, this is your landscape.
You know, I was honestly hesitant about the depth of field I'd get with an f4 lens, but the way this bouquet feathers out is just so lovely. I was really pleasantly surprised.
Okay, so I am in a legit cave and I am shooting at only an ISO 1600 and I'm shooting handheld at 1/30th of a second. It's like on the ground, facing me at the high, but that it's coming right into the lens. It's amazing. Don't change anything. Oh, this is so cool. I love this. I mean, like all of it. Look at these lights. These are good. You see? At the corner? Look, you see what time it is. Shooting both on location and shooting backlit can be a challenge for so many reasons. But I just consistently got these beautiful shots, and it made it so easy to just concentrate on the moment and have fun. You really can shoot very close with this. Ooh, pretty. Oh my gosh, these colors are stunning. This new system is going to make me a better photographer. It's going to add a lot more ease to my life. Oh, that's so cute. And it's going to make shooting a whole lot more fun. All right, you want to see these? I love these. Please don't take it away. No.
At the end of all that, they took it away. After like shooting with it and eating with it and cuddling it and dressing it, they just left and I had to leave without it. Come in 1 second, yeah. One of the most notable things for me with shooting with this system was like this combination of it's super mobile and I'm getting shots that are giant size, an average 50 megabyte file coming out of the camera, obviously significantly more as a TIFF file. And the color reproduction on it was fantastic. I'm shooting in something like a vivid mode. And you can see, if you put in the picture control, you switch it to vivid mode, you get this great pop of color without it being just overdone. And all the images I shot as JPEGs were sent out as marketing images, just the JPEGs I shot, and I was really happy with them. The ISO, I think this was somewhere in the 4000s, really well controlled. This pink lagoon we found this before we went down when we were producing the shoot, and I was so worried that we were gonna turn a corner. I was looking out the window, that we were gonna turn a corner and it was gonna be super depressing and had just been faked on Instagram or something. But it's this Pepto-Bismol, beautiful, I don't think they brand it that way. Pink Lagoon is the way to say it. That's what they say, not Pepto-Bismol Lake. And I think you saw in the video, these are one of the few shots I did shoot on a tripod because in this instance, we were shooting at night, 100 ISO, I think this is an f8, and the shutter speed was something like a minute exposure or something like that. And as this is zoomed in, so this is me just cropping in on the original shot I got, which is this, shot with the 70 millimeter focal length of the Z2470 f4 lens, shooting from all the way back here in the dark. It's that kind of clarity, which is nuts. I mean, you can see the time on that. And speaking of the sharpness of this system, this is in a historic theater in Guanajuato, Mexico. I'm also using this on a tripod because we wanted to keep the ISO at 100. But because the theater was so meticulously designed, since there was such crisp architecture everywhere we shot, this look, it just popped up so sharply. And if you take just a portion of the image and you blow it up to its own standalone image, it looks like that's coming out of camera, but that's just what you're zooming to. That's when I say it's been sharp to the corners, that's what I mean. This girl was lovely to work with. We actually met her in a restaurant the night before, and it felt a little weird. I was like, hey, you look great. Do you want to come shoot with us? And luckily, she was super easygoing and came. I'm not sure everybody would have. I'm not sure I would have. But she did, and we spent the day photographing her in a bunch of different locations, and it was great because she had this lovely, authentic look. And she showed up with this dress that coordinated just so well with where we were shooting already, which was really neat. But notice here, the highlights, that sun bouncing off the wall, typically those highlights are gonna break. It's gonna be overexposed. You're gonna have a wildly different color, but it just handled it so softly. It really turned out well. The other thing I noticed is the image quality through and through, from foreground to background to the way it handles backlighting coming in, just exceptional quality. And this bee was so awesome. He was just a found bee. Did you see in the video I was shooting next to a dog? These are the dog hairs from the dog leaning over the bee. But I wasn't quite sure what this was, and I asked somebody there, and she said, I don't know, but with the green eyes, I think it's, and then it was a name in Spanish that I don't know. And she said, I hope you didn't get too close, because if they sting you, it'll turn your blood into gel. And I was this close, but it turned out it was just a carpenter bee, which are super easy bees and don't hurt you in any way. But just because you have great macro capabilities with the lens doesn't mean you should always use it. Lastly, I got to shoot in Tokyo when I went out there for the global launch of this gorgeous system. And this shot is, I'm simply using an overhang to stabilize the shot. That's it. I mean, I'm resting on that. I'm shooting at this, I think, something like, gosh, 1/10 of a second, maybe slower. And if you can see, just like that, because the internal vibration reduction. Look how sharp. You can read these. Tell me somebody reads something. Nobody here knows Japanese. Okay, cool. We'll just keep going. But look at these amazing trails with the headlights, and this is sharp, 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 sharp everywhere. No tripod. It's all the built-in vibration stabilization. And that, I'm shooting from back there, just leaning over and clicking it at less than 1/10. It's slower than 1/10 of a second here because the light was dropping. And you still get all this color popping, you get all these sharp corners. It's sharp all the way to the edges, and that movement, that lovely movement. And because we were in Tokyo, we went to an owl cafe, which is kind of like a cat cafe where you go and have a drink and hang out with owls. And brought the 2470 with us, with these two guys hanging out next to us. And of course, when you're there, you've got to do a selfie. You got to have a little owl selfie going on. And really good to, this is me holding the camera right here, looking through the back in a live view, and then just scratching the edge of the camera with my finger so the owl took a look and saw what was going on. But overall, I'm literally doing this on, this is how I walk around shows now, or downtown, or anywhere I go, because I literally just have this. I can get those quality images. I don't even bring accessories with me, although I can add flashes. And it's one of those things that every once in a while you stumble on a piece of technology that changes your life. Like initially for me it was the iPhone, and now it's the Z7, because I do take this everywhere, and I absolutely love how lightweight it is and how I can just keep traveling and moving. Okay, if you have additional questions, you can find me there. Yes, your question. Where's the Pink Lagoon? It's in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. So it's about a couple hours away from where we were staying when we were there that I can't think of. But it's, you'd fly into Cancun and drive about 3 hours away. Yes. Yes, so the question is about using other lenses with the adapter. Yes, that's a great question. The adapter is seamless. I've shot with my 105, 1.4, with my 70 to 200, 2.8, a very long lens on this small camera. It works perfectly. There's no loss. I've experienced no loss whatsoever in image quality. So you can take the new Z6 or Z7, attach every lens you have, and keep shooting. Yeah. What lens do I have? Funny you should ask. I have the 2470 f4 lens, which is every one of those shots you just saw in Mexico and Tokyo, we're shooting with this. So this is my whole kit. Pardon? The B, yeah. So this has this is the 2470 lens, but it has macro-like capabilities. So you can shoot it at like 11-ish inches away, and that was that B shot was with this camera. Yeah. That's also a nice perk, because usually you choose this and you give up macro. The camera, this is the Z7. So I'm pretty sure you guys have it out on display here, yes? Yeah, so this is the mirrorless Z7. And there's a Z6 out now as well. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, wait. What is the battery like? Oh, the focus extender. I did not use any focus extenders. I would just use the adapter. What setting would I use when it's shooting a landscape? I've got a great idea. Let's talk privately.
Hold on. We got this.
Oh, you have a microphone.
It's on? All right. Pass that to that gentleman. We're doing this the right way.
Hi. In one of your earlier landscape shots,
Yes.
I thought you said something about setting on the camera for extending focus, or
Oh, okay, thank you. The term I used was an extended field of focus, so a very narrow aperture, like an f/16. So I was just dialing in a focus that I knew would showcase the entire landscape. So just referring to, I call it extended field of focus because sometimes people get confused with narrow aperture or a higher f-stop. Yeah?
All right.
All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate
All right.
it.
Tamara Lackey, Nikon ambassador, landscape photographer, photographs children. Just so you know, we're about to ramp up a couple of satellite stations for 15 minutes. We'll take a 15-minute break here. The next person up is an amazing portrait boudoir wedding photographer, Jerry Guionis. He'll be up here in 15 minutes. He's going to do a live shoot over there. We got Christy Odom doing a live shoot on the other satellite on the other side. But Jerry will be up here in 15 minutes.